In case you haven't heard, I'm a published author now. I have A Star Child Speaks, a story that could only be told in fiction until now. I also have Jesus, the light, the truth, and the way. And I have The Custodians, the keepers of knowledge. I also have The Healer Within, the archaeology of the self. And in that, there's even a workbook, totally available for you to customize regardless of your learning curve or your desires for which type of worksheet you use. So it's complementary to everyone. There are multiple ways within these worksheets. I also have a book called The Gate Program, where I experienced being a gate child. And soon I'll even have a book about my dad, and it will be called My Dad, the CIA Spook, just for fun. So if you would like to order any of these books, you can visit my website at www.earthsonglovecraft.com/store. See you there. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about holistic herbal applications for people with emphysema, COPD, smoker's cough, that kind of a thing. And no, I am not a doctor, but I have studied herbs all of my life, and I was taught by a shaman who was my Native American grandfather. So I would like to share some of the information that I know. So in 1953, tobacco executives discovered a botanical compound that could dissolve the mucus that's destroying smokers' lungs. They buried it to avoid billions in liability lawsuits. The meeting took place at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, December 15th, 1953. Executives from every major tobacco company in America were there. Their problem? Internal research proving cigarettes caused lung damage. Their solution? Hire the world's largest public relations firm to create doubt. But there was another problem that they never told the public about. Their own scientists had found something that actually worked to remove the mucus. Before 1953, tobacco company researchers understood exactly what smoking did to the lungs and recreational, or excuse me, not recreational, but lung-related jobs as well. I'm talking about black lung from coal miners. I'm talking about people who get emphysema or COPD from working in furniture stain or wood stain or any type of paint and fume without proper masks, which back in the day they didn't use, and a lot of times still to this day they do not use unless they know that the OSHA people are coming around. Smoking paralyzes the cilia, the tiny hairs that sweep debris out of your airways. Without functioning cilia, mucus accumulates, hardens, cements to the bronchial wall. They called it the mucus trap, and they'd found botanical compounds that could actually dissolve it. Stick around to the end because I know for sure which combination you should use per your specific injury or illness. But eucalyptus is used to penetrate the hardened layer, and licorice root, that helps to break the cement bonds. Calendula is used to revive the paralyzed cilia that's underneath. But all of these have to be taken in a special way in order to be safe, because even a botanical can be potentially dangerous if consumed or used in the wrong manner. That's why people like me come in handy for people like you who need these type of things. Internal trials showed that smokers expelling dark, dense mucus that they'd never been able to cough up before, and breathing had improved, lung function stabilized. But there was a catastrophic problem. If tobacco companies admitted botanicals could repair smoking damage, they'd also be admitting that cigarettes caused the damage in the first place. And remember, at this time, in this era, they were trying to say there is no harm from all of the chemicals that they put into their tobacco products. And in today's cigarettes that are packaged, there's even more products added to this. It isn't the tobacco specifically that causes this. It's all of the things that they're adding to it, these other ingredients that are the real problem. So every lawsuit, every class action, every widow who's lost a husband to emphysema, the liability would have bankrupted the entire industry. So on December 15th of 1953, they made a decision: bury the research, deny the damage, create a century of doubt. The botanical findings were classified as proprietary and then locked away. Scientists who worked on the trials were reassigned. The compounds that dissolved the mucus trap were never mentioned again. Here's the part that should really enrage you. You thought the damage was your fault, your choice, your consequence to suffer. But the companies that sold you these cigarettes with all of these added ingredients knew exactly what was destroying your lungs. And they knew exactly what could help to repair them. They chose their stock price over your ability to breathe and live. For 71 years, they've watched COPD patients suffocate on mucus that botanical compounds could dissolve. Not because the science didn't exist, but because admitting it existed, that it existed, meant admitting liability. And liability means bankruptcy. Today, the respiratory drug market generates over 65 billion annually. Pharmaceutical companies inherited tobacco's dirty secret. Different corporations, same strategy. Your doctor prescribes Mucinex. It thins the fresh mucus on top. The mobile layer, the mucus you could already cough up anyway. But underneath that fresh layer sits the cemented mucus. The mucus trap tobacco scientists documented 71 years ago. Mucus doesn't dissolve it. Neither does NAC. Neither does Mullen T alone. So you get temporary relief. The surface clears. Then it builds back up. You increase the dose. The cycle repeats. Eventually, Mucinex barely works at all. So they prescribe something stronger, then something stronger than that, and then nebulizers, and then oxygen therapy. Each step more invasive, more expensive, and more dependent. But none of them dissolve the hardened layer that tobacco scientists identified 7 decades ago. Your pulmonologist has never even learned what actually clears the mucus trap because tobacco buried the research and pharma profits from the silence. Here's what tobacco company scientists documented before their findings were classified. Eucalyptus penetrates deep into bronchial tissue to dissolve hardened mucus plugs created by cilia paralysis. Calendula breaks down thick, cemented phlegm while reactivating dormant cilia underneath. Licorice root loosens stubborn mucus bonded to airway walls from years of accumulation. Peppermint stimulates your lungs' natural mucus clearance mechanism. This was documented in controlled trials, photographed, measured, exposed to rigorous testing protocol. Until December 1953, when tobacco executives decided their liability protection was worth more than your ability to breathe. Within a single quarter, the research completely disappeared. Your pulmonologists today have never seen it. Not because the science wasn't rigorous, but because admitting smoker's lung could be helped meant admitting that their products caused the damage. 8 years of medical school, 0 hours learning that the mucus trap can be dissolved, or that tobacco knew about 71 years ago. So when you walk in struggling to breathe, a mucus problem caused by smoking or your job occupation, they reach for the only tools they were taught, prescriptions that only thin the surface. But here's what they couldn't erase from biology. Your airways are lined with tiny hair-like structures called cilia. Cilia constantly sweeps mucus up and out of your lungs. This is your body's natural clearance system. When it functions, your airways stay clear. Smoking paralyzed your cilia. Without them working, mucus accumulates, hardens, cements to your bronchial walls, creating the trap that fresh mucus builds up on top of. This is exactly what tobacco scientists, documented in their suppressed research. But your doctor treats it as a thinning problem, requiring chemicals, when it's actually a disillusion. I don't know why I can't talk today. A dissolution problem. that needs compounds capable of breaking apart the cemented mucus and reviving your dormant cilia. The botanical compounds that dissolve the mucus trap and reactivate your cilia. Tobacco made sure your doctor would never learn that they even exist. Things are changing, yes. Some doctors are coming back around to using botanicals and herbals as remedies for our health and well-being. But modern, peer-reviewed research keeps confirming what tobacco scientists documented in 1953, regardless of how your specific physician feels about botanicals or not. Studies in respiratory research show that calendula compounds break down hardened mucus structures. Research in pulmonary pharmacology, their journals, demonstrates licorice root dissolves cemented phlegm while reducing airway inflammation. Clinical studies confirm that eucalyptus penetrates deep bronchial tissue to liquefy stuck mucus and reactivate dormant cilia. This isn't fringe medicine. It's published, peer-reviewed science. But your doctor will never prescribe you something in this manner because tobacco buried the original research, and pharma has no incentive to go dig it up. Now, you might be thinking, if these botanicals work, I'll just buy them at the vitamin store. But there's one final reason why the tobacco trials worked and why store-bought supplements fail today. It's the delivery method. When you swallow a capsule or a tea, it travels to your stomach. Your stomach acid destroys 40 to 60% of the active compounds immediately. Your liver filters out the other 30 to 50%. So really only 5 to 10% reaches your bloodstream, and that small amount gets distributed throughout your entire body. Your lungs receive less than 1% of what you swallowed. That's why capsules and teas don't dissolve the mucus trap. They never reach it in a therapeutic concentration the way that they need to. Tobacco's internal trials used direct airway delivery, bypassing digestion, delivering compounds exactly where the cemented layer sits. And that's why hospitals use nebulizers and inhalers for acute respiratory emergencies and not pills. Direct airway delivery achieves 60 to 80% bioavailability to the lung tissue. Swallowing supplements achieves less than 1%. Now, there are some pharmaceutical grade sprays on the market that you could try. And there's also a mixture of these herbs in a blend that I offer on my website. So if you would like to try one of the sprays, there are brands on the market like Naturva who offer this in a pharmaceutical grade spray, or you can contact me and I will give you an herbal blend that has this and more in it to make sure that it is effective and delivered to the proper areas, which is your lung, your airway. And mine is in a incense type blend, or you can roll it up in a flaxseed paper and smoke it if you wish. It's perfectly safe to do so. I personally use this, and people that I know in my family and my friends have used this as well to help get junk out of their lungs when they are very ill or when they start feeling winded from work-related illnesses or even from smoking itself. These will be concentrated properties of eucalyptus to penetrate and liquefy cemented phlegm, calendula extract to break down the hardened mucus and revive your dormant cilia, the licorice root to dissolve stubborn mucus from bronchial walls, and of course some peppermint to activate your lungs' natural clearance mechanisms, as well as some other herbal botanicals that I add to my special blend. By day 3, let me back up. Every compound tobacco tried to bury, plus more, reformulated with modern extraction standards. Use it daily, and the mucus trap dissolves in 4 to 8 weeks, depending on severity of your breathing ability. By day 3, something shifts. Not dramatic, just slightly looser mucus, like you can draw a little more air into your lungs. By day 7, the mucus starts to move, not cemented in place anymore. You feel it shift when you cough. By day 11, a deep coughing fit that brings something up, not the usual thin stuff, but thicker and likely even darker. By day 14, you wake up coughing hard. A massive chunk comes up, dark brown, maybe even almost black, denser than anything you've ever expelled. You stare at it in the sink or the trash can, in complete awe that such a thing has come out of you. But by week 3, breathing feels deeper. That constant suffocation of tightness begins to lift as the mucus trap continues dissolving. And by month 2, many find that the need for Mucinex is much less frequent, if not completely dissolved altogether, as their lungs clear naturally. Not because you've temporarily thinned surface mucus with a pill, but because your cilia are finally waking back up. Thousands of people with COPD are now using botanical compounds that big tobacco tried to bury. One patient was on a maximum dose of Mucinex, 1,200 milligrams a day, and it barely made a difference. His pulmonologist was recommending NAC next. He started using the botanicals, and by week 2, began coughing up thick, dark phlegm, the trapped layer finally loosening. And by week 5, he could breathe deeply without wheezing for the first time in years. By month 3, he was sleeping flat on his back in bed again because his lungs were clearing naturally. These aren't miracles. They're the predictable result of dissolving the mucus trap and reviving the cilial function instead of temporarily thinning surface mucus and masking the problem rather than getting to the root of it. Your lungs weren't permanently destroyed by smoking. They were trapped by mucus that the tobacco industry knew how to dissolve and chose to hide from you. You've blamed yourself long enough. The damage you thought was permanent, it's a mucus trap that a botanical compound can break apart. Tobacco buried the solution to protect their liability, but they couldn't erase it from biology. Eucalyptus, still to this day, dissolves hardened mucus. Calendula still breaks down cemented phlegm. Licorice root still liquefies stuck mucus. And your body still responds exactly the way it did in tobacco's suppressed 1953 trials. Listen, you've probably spent years and thousands of dollars trying to fix this. If you think about it, Mucinex twice a day adds up to about $40 a month. And that's only if you get the generic version. And it's only thinning the surface layer. The NAC supplements, $30 a month that your stomach acid destroys. Mullein tea every night never truly reaches your lungs in therapeutic doses. Nebulizer treatments are 200 plus that loosen the fresh mucus, but really don't ever touch the cemented layers. And then you've got the quarterly pulmonary visits, right? $150 per copay to hear that it's just COPD and there's not really anything much they can do to fix it, only to ease it up a bit. After all of it, you're still coughing every morning into the sink, still sleeping in the recliner, still feeling that cement sitting in your chest that nothing seems to reach, because none of it was designed to dissolve the trapped layers. It was designed to manage the surface. Again, Mucinex only thins surface mucus. It can't touch the cemented layers underneath. And the NAC capsules, they're destroyed by your stomach acid, so less than 1% is reaching your lungs. Same thing for the mullein tea. It's the wrong delivery method. It never hits therapeutic concentration. And then there's the saline nebulizers. They only loosen the fresh mucus, slides right past the hardened trap. I would just like to say one last thing here before you go. The first thing that people notice isn't the breathing. It's sleep, flat, in bed, no recliner, no stacked pillows, no 3 a.m. coughing and choking, just breathing like you forgot that you could do. If you're interested, the link will be in the description down below. Thank you and be blessed.